All right, second episode in a row that I still don't have an intro, but welcome to Quarantine Chronicles. That counts as an
That's
intro,
an
right?
intro. That is an intro.
That's how we do.
Welcome to Quarantine Chronicles, your bi-weekly everything not Nintendo related on the Random Nintendo podcast feed, right?
Correct. It's
Are
like
RSS feed still a thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's how we're on all the podcast apps. Yeah. This is like the sub show within the feed of the other show, essentially.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Once again,
the better of the two shows.
Debatable.
Ooh. Yeah. Them's fighting words.
Shots
fired, indeed. To my virtual left, I got Jason.
Hello.
To my virtual right, I have Angel.
What's up?
And for those of you who still aren't in the loop, this is our brand new podcast talking, as I stated earlier, everything non-Nintendo related because, we're in quarantine and we're consuming a lot of content and a lot more news than usual. So we just want to talk about them. At the blog post, I remember this week, the blog post will have timestamps for every... they're not categories. What? Every discussion?
Topic?
Every topic. There we go. Every topic that we talk about. Usually who's talking about them and all that jazz. Let's get right. Do you guys want to get right into it?
Can we talk about
we should discuss
something both news and something we watch? Because we all just collectively watched SpaceX and NASA launch humans into space on a private rocket.
Let's talk about that. That's still going on, right?
It's still
I was playing Mario Kart during that, so I did catch most of it.
You were playing Mario Kart?
You didn't hear him cursing out people online?
No, I thought he was drawing.
Nah, he was playing Mario Kart.
I was drawing initially, but then I switched to Mario Kart.
How'd you do?
I kept getting first. Pretty good.
How do you feel, Angel, when you tell your grandkids, so there's this historic day I got to witness? Everyone gathered around the TV when they landed on the moon. First people went to space.
It got to 7,000 kilometers per hour, and then I was like, all right. It's cool and all,
success.
But it's also kind of...
It's like, well, they're up there. Okay, back to cheap cheats.
Yeah. Especially once they got to space, or I guess to the outer atmosphere, nothing was happening. Yeah, it's exciting and it's amazing, and I'm happy that this is happening. But
right,
I got bored.
I think first of all, I don't know how I got bored because it looked like they were launching Daft Punk into space. The suits, the control panel they have, it felt like the exact. I remember Daft Punk having.
They look like space farmers to me.
Oh yeah, because you're saying about the boots, right?
There's that one video game. I think it's called Astroneer. That the suits look very similar to the suits that SpaceX used.
Maybe that's where Elon got his inspiration. He is a gamer.
True. That's true.
But it's just I just want to mention because I think it's really cool that we are now. The thing looked like sci-fi, but we are very much one step closer to everything sci-fi has promised. Getting a private company to put people in space for the first time opens up so many possibilities for so many things in the future.
So not to get your hopes up, one step closer doesn't necessarily mean we're right there.
But it's a big step. It's a very big step. The fact that...
Yeah, we probably won't see the fruits of that labor.
We will see it on some level. We're going to have people back on the moon in our lifetime. We're going to have people zipping around places.
Want the money on it?
Back on the moon in our lifetime? They want to do it in the 2020s, which we're in. So, yes. Unless we're all going to somehow die from corona or something in the next couple of years.
I'm not talking about that. That would be an amazing step for them to do that again. But...
Oh, you mean something
that would directly affect the everyday person?
You mean are we going to see Sunshine or Passengers or one of those movies that's all about just traveling through space forever play out in front of us?
I guess I'm more curious about how soon it would be the first commercial trip for people to go to space.
They are doing a private citizen.
That seems the most realistic that we would see.
I would say so. Yeah, next year they're doing their first.
Even if it probably won't be realistic money wise for a lot of people in their lifetime, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's it's not we're all gonna. It's not 4 years from now. It's be all right, who wants to go on a cruise to the moon and back?
Carnival
or Disney's
Carnival.
Yeah, exactly. They're not gonna be we can't sail the seas anymore because the seas all evaporated. So let's go to space. That's not gonna happen in the next few years. But I think there's gonna be stories. Tom Cruise is about to film a movie in space. That's a private citizen. He teamed up with I forget who, some director in SpaceX, and they're gonna do a movie in space with him in space. Which for Tom Cruise, actually doesn't seem like that big of a leap considering he was on the edge of space in the last Mission Impossible. But
he's also been on the edge of tomorrow.
This is true. But then they renamed it Live, Die, Repeat, unfortunately, because I like the name Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow's too generic, I feel like.
It is. But the movie, I enjoyed that movie. Did you guys see that?
No, Edge of Tomorrow. I think I saw it on a plane. I think it must have been one of the movies that I saw while in flight to Japan.
I watched it like in a theater, but that's how I was with Snowpiercer. I saw that on it because I know that's the thing that's not bubbling back up. I saw that on a plane behind everyone else. Like
that's where you saw that
thing.
movie?
Yeah, I saw it on a plane coming back from a work trip to Tennessee, I think, or something like that. It was the American Snowpiercer, I should say, like the Chris Evans one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
It was cool to realize that.
What?
What?
Well, I was gonna say that it was cool to learn that movie was based off of a manga because I had no idea that was. I guess a live action movie like that was an adaptation. I guess
You're talking about Live, Die, Repeat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Live, Die, Repeat was
Snowpiercer. I was like, no, it's not.
Live, Die, Repeat. Live, Die, Repeat is based on or Edge of Tomorrow is based on. The name is so cool. The name is All You Need Is Kill.
They should have just kept the name, honestly.
I don't know how you get away with that, for theaters.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Brad Pitt had that movie Killing Them Softly. Okay, regardless, let's get into it. Jason already brought up Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Because he can't get away with segues. It's not even his own podcast.
It's ingrained in me. I really can't. Even if I try, like it still blurts out. It's really bad.
Right.
I have a problem. I
should try harder.
I should seek help.
Yeah. So I want to talk really quickly about Snowpiercer, the TV show. So did either of you? So Jason, you watched it on the plane. Angel, have you seen Snowpiercer?
No, but I know the premise.
Okay.
And how it ends.
Okay.
I mean,
keep going. I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, yeah. I know enough about the movie too. I know what it's about. Yeah.
Okay, so
it seems cool.
So Jason has gotten a couple of things wrong already off the bat. We were discussing pre-show. We were discussing Snowpiercer just the teensiest little bit. He keeps calling it the Americanized version. That is the version. There is no other version. It's not an American remake.
Wait, what?
No,
oh yeah, he did direct that himself. Okay, yeah.
Oh, now you realize it.
No. I was just thinking about it. Yeah, I thought he did a Korean one and an American one. Like he Hollywooded it, basically. No.
So
Okay.
We're talking about Bong Joon-ho.
No?
Yes.
Captain America was always there.
Yeah, I'm part of the Bong Hive. I doubt we'll ever talk about it, but Parasite. He also directed that. I love that
Parasite.
movie.
Yeah,
you like it, Angel? What are your thoughts on Parasite?
No, I loved it. I bought it on Blu-ray before I even saw it because I knew I would like it, and I did.
There we go.
I had zero expectations going in because I've already heard both spectrums of it. Like, oh, it's so good that I heard it was so good that they thought it was okay or felt underwhelmed and disappointed because the hype was too high. But then I also heard the other end where people were like, I heard nothing coming in, and I loved it. So
to be honest,
it pretty much canceled it out.
To be honest, I did come out of it thinking, because I expected it to be something super mind-blowing because I went in with like abnormally high, like, oh, it's crazy? How crazy can it get? But when I let it stew for a little bit, I was like, okay, yeah, if I went in not knowing anything, that escalation in that movie is perfect. It's just I went in with too high of expectations of something crazy happening versus something just crazy happening. And it does get crazy. But if everyone tells you it's so crazy, the bar's really high. But I did really like it and thought it was really well done. It's basically it has some very Tarantino vibes at times.
Sure. Yeah. So Train, I was going to say Train Spotting. That's a totally different amazing director. Snowpiercer. Yeah, Danny Boyle, who directed Sunshine, which you mentioned earlier.
Yes, I like Sunshine a lot. Anyway,
yeah,
Sunshine,
sidetracking. Anyways, Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer was Bong Joon-ho's how do you say it? Twice removed movie? No. It wasn't his last movie. His last movie was Okja on Netflix. Before that was Snowpiercer. I think that's the movie that finally broke him into, I guess, the mainstream. I don't know if you guys would agree.
I would say so. I would say so.
Because it was his first, I guess, American movie.
Yeah, I would say so because every time that Parasite was referenced in the mainstream press, not in the cinephile film world, but in CNN or whatever, that would be the director of movies such as Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the one where he kind of crossed over quite literally.
So it's actually based on a French comic, I believe, like a 3-part French comic.
Mm-hmm.
that Bong Joon-ho adapted, starring Chris Evans and Jamie Bell, along with, I forget her name. She was recently in a horror movie, which we might talk about later. She was in Ma. What's her name?
I could look it up if you want.
Yeah, go look it up for me. She's also in the movie, and it also has the I forget his name, but the poor father from Parasite is also one of the main characters.
Kang Ho. I never remember his last name.
Yeah, Kang Ho.
Yeah,
Kang Ho.
Yeah, his Johnny Depp.
Are you thinking of Tilda Swinton, by the way?
Not Tilda Swinton.
She's in it too. So is Octavia Spencer. I forgot about that.
Octavia Spencer. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. She's in Ma. Yeah.
Tilda Swinton's also in the movie. They're all great. So it's about this train that's constantly moving across the world after scientists accidentally froze the world to combat global warming. And it's all about class. The I guess the poors, or as they're called, the tailies, are all the way in the back. All the rich people are in the front. They enjoy more lavish lives, while everybody in the back has to eat like protein bars that are
full of bugs.
Basically full. Yeah. That's a spoiler for. I guess we're gonna talk.
Is it a spoiler?
Spoilers.
I mean, they were giving out bug-filled protein bars at Comic-Con to promote the show last year, so it's not like they're hiding that. I have one in my house. It's probably expired. That I probably should.
I mean, if you didn't go to Comic-Con, you probably
no. But I mean, like the marketing machine wasn't hiding that. Like, I don't know if it's a spoiler in the way that like. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, anyways, so they, after a couple of years in development hell, they finally adapted it to TV, but in a very interesting way. So you still have that class divide in the TV show, and it shows you the first time that the Snowpiercer actually starts moving. Like, you see a bunch of rich people get on the train, and then a bunch of other people like storming into the train.
Oh, interesting. So it's not like with the movie where you're kind of dropped in the middle of an already existing new society in motion. Right. You actually get to see the society sort of pick up speed quite.
No. So it's just at the very beginning. They just show you people, and the main character played by I'm not sure. I think it's either David Diggs or I don't remember his name. I also don't remember his name in the TV show. Huh. I should have thought this one through. But
we just call him protagonist.
We'll call him Chris Evans in the TV show.
Okay.
Chris.
TV Chris, yeah. So
I mean, isn't that in a way their fault if they didn't make the name memorable or at least make it obvious that it's, I don't know. I mean, usually I remember the protagonist's name.
No, I wouldn't blame I'd blame.
I couldn't even name what Chris Evans' character was in the movie. I just know it was Chris Evans because I saw it 6 years ago, whenever it came out, or whenever it was on airplane.
Do you remember the names of anybody in that thing? Because then
Tilda Swinton is Tilda Swinton,
Mr. Wilford, who is the creator of the Snowpiercer.
So I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. So because this is and the movie was all about the revolution of the tailies, the people in the back, trying to get better lives.
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho has always been a proponent of, I guess, class division.
He loves to focus on essentially classism, I guess would be the right.
Classism
and the disparity between rich and poor and middle, and not just that, but how to present it in different ways with different like metaphors, I guess, or not even metaphors. They're usually pretty in your face, but different angles to tell the same basic story.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's actually an executive producer on the show, which I didn't know until I saw his credits.
I thought they just ran with it.
Huh. Yeah, I did too. So it's good that he's part of it. And so this doesn't take place in the same, I guess, universe as the movie. It's a brand new canon. But while the movie solely focused on a revolution, because it's a TV show, they have to serialize it in some way. And so the main character gets brought up to the front of the, almost immediately gets brought up to the front of the Snowpiercer, because he used to be a homicide detective, and there's been a murder on the Snowpiercer.
Oh, interesting. So the movie's premise is the backdrop for a serialized crime show, or is it an overarching single plot?
So there's two plots going on.
Sure, we'll connect later.
Yeah, because there are still seeds of the revolution happening in the TV show. Mm-hmm. But they're using this serialization of a murder mystery to, I guess, for the lack of a better term, keep the wheels turning. Oh, I hate myself for.
Oh man, that was good. I applaud that.
And so, there's the main character. There's really only two characters that you really care about right now. The main character's name, I gotta look it up. Or can you look it up?
I got you. Keep talking. I'll get it for you.
So,
John Smith.
No, it's not John Smith. I want to, because I'm going to continue watching the show.
It is.
At least I'm going to try.
Cast and characters. David Diggs is Andre Layton. Oh my God! There's a crime solver named Layton. No way. Are we back in Nintendo now, Professor Layton?
Nope. We'll save that for next week.
Professor.
Anyways, so there's Andre Layton, and there's also Jennifer Connelly's character, who is the voice of the train, who every morning wakes up and announces, "Hey, we're gonna pass by through this place, blah blah blah. Prepare for like a bumpy ride, that kind of thing." And so she's fascinated by the tailies, and so that's why she brings on Andre almost immediately to the front. Oh well, it's not even her that brings that up. It's Mr. Wolford himself, the guy who created the Snowpiercer, who wants help solving this mystery. We still don't know all the details. There is a major twist and I guess this is spoiled, but there is a twist at the end of the first episode that I don't know how they're going to handle going forward, but it definitely piques my interest enough to, this might be the first show that I watch on a week-to-week basis since, I don't know when I got rid of DirecTV in my room. I don't know, 2013?
So, do you prefer not watching on a week-to-week basis? Like, do you like just I guess both of you. Do you prefer just binging all at once so you can just get through it quicker? And this is like the rare exception to that?
Well,
sometimes. I like having things to look forward to.
Yeah. I guess it goes on a show-to-show basis, honestly.
Okay.
If it's something easily digestible, yeah, I'd want to watch the entire thing, the entire season at once. But if it's something I guess I wouldn't call this heavy. I wouldn't call the show exactly heavy, but...
Mm-hmm. You want some time to think about it. Like, I wouldn't really want to binge Breaking Bad. I would like to watch it bit by bit. As I did, I guess, when it first came out.
Yeah.
Right.
But something like Harley Quinn, which is easy to, binge, I could just keep going one after the other.
Yeah, which, by the way, thank you for mentioning Harley Quinn on the last QC, because I watched it, the first season. It's pretty good. Bane is the best. Sorry I keep putting you on tangents.
That's fine.
But no, yeah, your recommendations are worth listening to, Angel. I finally learned after how long of ignoring them. So, so Harley Quinn's pretty good.
Harley Quinn is pretty good.
Yeah.
Put that on the back of the Blu-ray box. Do you see?
Yeah, exactly. just cite my, me. But no, the reason I was asked about binge is because I've come to realize that, with the exception of, I guess, things like Harley Quinn, and I'm kind of glad Snowpiercer falls under this, is I much prefer TV where there's, stuff going on where there could be a conversation around it. You could go to the subreddits and go to the off-topic section of whatever forum you hang out in or whatever, and, there's all this speculation and, circumstance. And, it's this whole drawn-out thing. It's like a cultural thing. Even if it's on a small scale. Not every show's a Game of Thrones, but, I really enjoyed with Mr. Robot, having that, week-to-week gap where you'd, figure out what's going on and theorize and that sort of thing. So, it's interesting that Snowpiercer for you, Kevin, at least is making you think that that's the best way to watch it at this stage.
Yeah, and the fact that it's been in development hell for so long, I think they probably have a grasp on the route that they want to go with the show, especially considering this could have easily been this is on TNT, I believe. This could have been on TNT's subscription service.
Right.
I assume they have one, but
I guess it'd be HBO Max. That would be them.
I don't think they're Warner owned.
No, TNT is. TNT and TBS are Turner, which Broadcasting, which was bought by Warner and became Time Warner, and now is Warner Media. They're the same company as Adult Swim and all that, and Cartoon Network.
Monopolies, yo. It's insane.
Gotta love them.
Yeah, but anyways, so Snowpiercer, I love the movie. Bong Joon-ho's awesome. This pilot was supposed to be directed originally by Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange. And the former director of Doctor Strange 2.
And the soon-to-be director of the Labyrinth sequel. I don't know if you heard about that.
I don't want to see a Labyrinth
No.
sequel.
Well, apparently he's doing it.
I mean,
The
I guess
Bowie
he's talented.
film?
Yeah,
I guess,
David
yeah.
Bowie.
I think
David
that's the only
Bowie.
Labyrinth I know of, so it has to be.
You can't make oh man, I love David Bowie so much. You can't make a Labyrinth sequel without David Bowie.
No, you can't.
I mean, I guess they're gonna try, but
One day I'll have to look to see what the whole hubbub is around this David Bowie person.
oh, your brother got into him a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I know what he looks like, but I'm sure
You know what he
it's-
looks like.
Well,
well, just because I've seen like clips of Labyrinth. I'm sure he's done more than that. Is he a singer?
yeah, he's a singer.
Yeah, he's a big singer. He collaborated with Queen. You like Queen? You probably know one of the
He's very skinny though.
he is.
But I see.
Yeah, you know Under Pressure. He's the other guy.
Oh, the
He's the other guy.
That's someone calling you to explain, to be like, how do you not know David Bowie?
yeah, we're taking callers.
Yeah, we're
live.
taking callers, except no one's listening in on this. I don't know how they know. It's like
All right.
telepathic. It's like a David Bowie radar went out.
All right, can we get the name of the first caller, please?
Looks like they're Ted Danza.
Ted Danza?
I thought, that's a person.
Is Ted
I think
Danza a
Ted-
person, or are
I
you
think
talking
you're
about
Ted
Ted
Danson.
Danson?
Yeah, Ted
Oh,
Danza.
they hung up. It's all good though.
Yeah,
We
we
may
could
find
have
his
we
name
could
too
have
much.
very quickly gone into a whole improv routine with that one. And yeah, Ted Danson is who I was thinking of. Ted Danza.
Well, anyways, I hope you do listen to David Bowie, Angel. He's probably one of my favorite artists. Probably is my
It's
favorite
not like I've been
artist.
avoiding them. Just never got around to
No,
it.
right.
But-
And I'd love to discuss this music with you on this very podcast. Once, assuming you do hear David Bowie.
You have assignment for next time, Angel.
No.
I'm
I don't
kidding.
want to
I'm
force.
kidding.
I don't want to.
No,
force
when
David
it
Bowie upon
organically
anybody.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's yeah. So that's Snowpiercer. Jason just rips the band-aids off these transitions before I even have.
I was just the one.
time
It was
to
just
read
the
Bleeding
one.
everywhere.
What do you mean? You just brought up. All right, let's
Snowpiercer.
talk about HBO Max, Jason.
Well, it's fitting. Watch. You ready? It's fitting because we were just talking about how TNT is owned by the same people that own, Warner, which is now putting everything onto HBO Max as one big thing. But yeah, I didn't really want to necessarily talk about HBO Max itself versus just like, I guess a little of HBO Max. I guess my thing that I'm kind of fixated on in the last couple of weeks and months, and it's going to be this way in a month as well with Peacock, is like, could we stop with the excessive number of streaming services? Like, it's getting, they're doing things to hype up their streaming service that arguably don't need to necessarily be done because they have nothing else they can do. So, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, for example. I know there's a fan demand for it on some level, but they're basically willing something.
Fan demand.
They're basically willing something out of nothing because they need a tent pole for a service they're launching when they realize they don't have any tent poles for it. But they're still going to charge you $15 a month for this tent pole-less thing, which is more than all the other guys who have tent poles and have the same back catalog. It doesn't make sense to me, I guess, is kind of where I'm going with this. Like, what would you guys think of this Snyder Cut announcement? I assume you heard about it with Justice League.
Seems like a slippery slope.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, Kevin, do you have much of an opinion one way or another on it?
So I think this was already. People are like, oh, this is slippery slope, but really the slippery slope started
With
when...
Mass Effect 3. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
So, yeah,
Wait,
we'll
when was
say
Mass Effect 3?
Effect 3.
What?
That was 2013, I think.
Yeah. Wait, Angel, what'd you say?
Oh no, I said one with Mass Effect 3.
Oh, yeah,
because I remember
2013 or so.
No, yeah, and this is there was obviously Sonic, and even before that,
Sonic
we had,
was what I was going to say.
Well, before that one, there was a whole Ninja Turtle thing with Michael Bay. For a while, there were going to be aliens,
Right.
and they were just going to call them Ninja Turtles. But after the backlash, they went back and just added Teenage Mutant at the beginning of it, and we're like, nope, they're not aliens. Don't worry. So
Yeah. Yeah, I guess because the thing is, like, I appreciate the fact that all these companies are now, instead of trying to sell us individual DVDs and Blu-rays, saying, hey, here's our entire library at your fingertips. Granted, you're paying us a lot more per year to access it than if you just bought the Blu-ray. But the accessibility of all these shows, the fact that, a lot of creators are able to theoretically produce content and get shows made that they are trying to pitch but didn't have an audience for because things could be more niche on these platforms now. The fact that all that's possible is great, but at the same time it's just like, I feel like it's opening up the door with things like Justice League to really, like, the fan entitlement syndrome, for lack of a better term, is just going to get so much worse as time goes on. Especially if they are putting sort of their best foot forward to launch these services with, we're going to do what you want us to do. And that just, to me, I'm just like, it just keeps reminding me of, like, the Pokemon situation last year, where for a year, all we heard about with Sword and Shield was, there's no national decks. And the game still sold great at the end, but there's that small contingent of people, and that small contingent of people in a different setting now with Justice League are getting exactly what they want. And it's not like that's bad. Like, I'm happy for them, and I bet you this new Snyder Cut, whether it's a movie or a miniseries, my guess is it's going to be a miniseries because they're probably going to want to emulate Watchmen's prolonged success, have people tune in over multiple weeks, make people have to pay for at least 2 months instead of 1 month, that sort of thing. I suspect, like, that's going to be pretty cool, but I don't necessarily know if, like, that's, like, is it going to turn around the movie in ways that fans have been demanding for years? Probably not. It's not going to be that much better. If it is, cool, but like does this mean that every single movie you don't like, you can now basically petition a different version, and all the streaming services are going to be like, well, we need content, so sure, and there's basically no, like, original form of a movie anymore? Like, it opens up so many questions that I don't have answers to. Just so many questions.
So the Snyder Cut is, man, I hate getting into this conversation, but the Snyder Cut is an interesting example. Because Zack Snyder, he wasn't removed.
Yeah.
Well, to internet conspiracy theorists out there, he was removed from Justice League. But the official story from Warner was that he took a leave because of
his daughter.
Because of his daughter, for personal reasons. Because he had a very, very unfortunate, tragic
he went through
event
a lot.
happen. Yeah, he went through a lot.
I feel really bad for him and his wife. Like, that, I can't even imagine. But anyway.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so Joss Whedon came in to, quote-unquote, clean it up, and the movie came out, and I already hated Batman vs. Superman. I thought Man of Steel was great, with the exception of a couple of parts of that movie. I already hated Batman vs. Superman, and people said that Justice League was better than BVS. I hated Justice League way more than I hated Batman vs. Superman.
You know what the thing was to me is Batman vs. Superman, take or leave what its identity was, but it had an identity. Like, it knew what it was. Yeah, exactly. Like, that, okay, that's dumb. But, like, it was very comfortable in whatever that skin it had was. And Justice League felt like a focus grouped, how do we take the identity that we were building with the DCEU, this kind of weird, darker, everything's like shades of gray, literal, like every outfit was like gray tinted. How do we do that and then, like, also make it kind of more interesting and more what the public wants?
Back in the 2010s of gaming,
kind of. Yeah, it was very much like shade. It was like Bomberman. It was the Bomberman Zero of superhero movies. But yeah, it was
everything was like brown and gray.
Exactly, and it was just like you could see that they were like pulled in two different directions, and Joss Whedon was just there kind of cleaning up the mess. But so I'd rather, like to your point, Kevin, I'd rather they go now that we're at this point where apparently, they're making this, might as well see what the original, like, full Snyder Cut is if we're going to do it. And at least it'll stay true to the identity it was supposed to be, opposed to this weird focus group hodgepodge it became.
The way that oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, they're not redoing anything, like, everything from scratch. Like, what the footage we saw in the final version of the movie that we saw, like, it's still going to appear at some point.
Most,
right?
I would assume. So basically, from my understanding, and Kevin, you might know more about this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But
so, it sounds like there's only so much they can
Well, they're investing $30 million, and they're bringing back the crew.
I personally feel...
Go ahead.
Like, my gut just kind of tells me that it's not going to be any better than
it's not
the movie that we got. It's just going to be longer.
So... Yes, I think you're about right. I think that's probably what's going to be. People that have this vision of the movie's going to be this totally different experience, I don't think is true. I do think it will be more focused and it will have more of an identity for itself than like Justice League, which the first half kind of felt one way, and then the second half they're like, oh, we're all going to just fight a big CG monster. But
at the end of the day, the main villain still wasn't that interesting. Like the main conflict still wasn't what it could have been.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they can really change that unless they redo that, which they're not.
What we know going in right now is they're getting $30 extra million. They have 5 hours or so, 4.5 hours or so of footage, which was whittled down to make the first movie. Some of that footage is not going to match what came out in the final movie because Joss Whedon did do reshoots at one point. So there is like a different story to be explored a little. But it is ultimately still kind of the same thing, and it's going to be very strange to watch and have one scene that you recognize jump to a scene you don't, jump back to a scene you do. But yeah, I don't know. Just like conceptually, I'm very curious to see how it plays out, but I'm a little worried about the precedent it sets.
For sure. Like, I really want to see what this, because I mean, I feel like the main argument I hear a lot is that like, it obviously felt very rushed. They just kind of gathered everyone quickly, and
it wasn't
should have been a couple
vision.
movies.
Which is the great way that people are trying to.
But I feel like it did feel rushed, but I feel like my problem wasn't really with how they got everybody. But
yeah, and I
if they
think
want to extend on that, maybe that will make me like it more.
But I think what's weird now is so they're making it this big tentpole for HBO Max, right? But simultaneously, the DC universe has moved on significantly in just the past few years from the vibe of what they were trying those first few movies. Like Aquaman, so much lighter. Yeah, it's way lighter and literally more colorful. They're not
with the exception of Joker, but yeah.
Even Joker, you could argue. Well, yeah, it's not lighter, but it certainly had more color than Justice League.
Yeah, I meant tone wise.
Yeah, no, but like they've gone into this different. And Joker, arguably, the argument that DC's made is Joker's a one-off independent story using a familiar character. So they could still say, well, the DCEU is this other thing separate from Joker. But like, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, they're both part of the still referencing each other indirectly and stuff. And yet they're completely different. Like Wonder Woman 1984 looks awesome. It's so colorful. It looks really cool. Like I love the poster design and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird that they're now basically going backwards.
Like the poster designs are more exciting than what I've seen of them.
Yeah, I should rephrase that. The poster design I'm really into. The vibe of it I'm really into. When you watch the trailer and she's in the mall, it literally looks like they just went back to the Stranger Things mall from the last season. They were like, hey, what if we just use this same set piece? But because they even have like the fake Walden books and all these old stores that no longer exist in that mall. It's just like we did this. Pop culture did this 2 years ago. But yeah, it's just weird now because they're listening to fandom and basically whatever vision they had for their universe and the stories they want to tell is now kind of getting fractured in two different directions. To let one person tell his story that was maybe silenced a little, but was only now coming up because fans want to hear it. But simultaneously, it's the same but different from the path that the rest of the universe is going. It's weird.
So Zack Snyder kept on going. There is a Snyder Cut. There is a Snyder Cut. If there was a Snyder Cut, they'd release this immediately. I think this is what I have this is my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Everybody kept yelling on the internet. There's a Snyder Cut. There's a Snyder Cut. There's an assembly cut. An assembly cut is way different from like a final product.
Yeah.
Which absolutely. Is what Zack Snyder had. But he kept like prodding his fans to be like, hey, talk to Warner Brothers so that I can finally release my cut. And there was never a Snyder Cut.
Not only that, but also like, and I don't blame him for this. And I don't blame Gal Gadot or Ben Affleck for this either. But the fan demand hit a level where basically the actors, Jason Momoa and all of them, were kind of like, well, hold on, we can fix the legacy of that movie. Okay, we'll jump on the bandwagon. And then like a year ago, they all started doing like hashtag release the Snyder Cut as well. Which there's two ways of looking at it. Either the stars were like supportive of the fans wanting to see more of their characters but in a different light and just like, okay, well, if that's what the fans want, sure. Or, if you want to put on a tinfoil hat for a minute, this was planned for the last 1.5 to 2 years, and they were doing a very slow organic marketing campaign knowing they had a streaming service coming down the pipe. You don't make HBO Max overnight. This thing has been in development forever. It's been in development since at least AT&T bought Warner Brothers, which was in 2016.
Are you talking about the Snyder Cut or HBO Max?
I'm saying HBO Max has been in the works since 2016. So I'm saying there's two ways you can look at this. Either they co-opted it because Zack Snyder was passionate about it and they saw the fans of their characters were passionate about it, the actors, or, and this would even give Zack Snyder a little credit back from what you were saying, that he was just pushing for a thing that didn't exist, or this was a very, very, very slow burn of a marketing campaign to get enough interest in a do-over of Justice League to quell the most hardcore fans while giving a tentpole to a service that they didn't think would have one.
I'm going to go with the first one.
So am I, but I like to wear a tinfoil hat sometimes.
especially, I think Ben Affleck has gone on record of calling Justice League.
Yeah, no, it's very similar to the Community cast when Dan Harmon left. Like they trudged through their season 4, but they were super happy to have him back in season 5, and were not shy about saying how much they dislike season 4. So yeah, realistically, it's that one, but there's a part that's kind of like, because it goes back to my earlier point. These services are launching, but they need tent poles. Like what's Peacock's tent pole in a month? They have reruns of Parks and Rec, because that's how they're advertising it right now. We have reruns of Parks and Rec.
They have reruns of The Office.
Yeah, well, both. Yeah, but yeah, actually, The Office is probably the bigger of the two, which is why Netflix scrambled to get Space Force out ahead of Peacock to keep that Steve Carell audience that used to watch
When
The
is
Office
Peacock
on Netflix.
launching?
July.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's like, all these services, and they all charge however much, and we're at the point where it's basically a cable channel. So to go back to my original point, like the whole reason things like this are happening, I think, is because they all need to stand out from each other. They can't all have a Mandalorian. And I don't think Disney anticipated Mandalorian blowing up how it did, but people bought Disney Plus for Mandalorian. Like, it was Baby Yoda was a thing in pop culture for like 6 to 8 weeks there, and they didn't have merchandise ready. So like that's how much it kind of. Partly they didn't have it ready because they didn't want to spoil Baby Yoda at the request of Jon Favreau, but also like I don't think they anticipated that groundswell of attention it got. So like now every service, since probably the whole time since they were
is looking for their Baby Yoda.
Is looking for their Baby Yoda. And I think they knew going into this they need a tentpole, but I think now after Mandalorian they're even more like, oh god, we need something that can have some cultural cachet immediately. Like one of the things HBO Max wanted to do was they paid a pretty penny to get all the people from Friends, the cast, to reunite, to do a special reunion episode thing. Like I don't even know if it was an episode. I don't know if it was scripted, but it was going to be a 1-hour special. Coronavirus delayed it. It's still going to happen, but they put so much money down because they're like, oh, well, people will check out HBO Max because we can lure them in with a Friends reunion, and then we have all the reruns for them after that if they want, because we'll be the only place that has Friends now. It's like all these weird power
I wonder what
plays.
Matthew Perry was up to.
Matthew Perry, I'd say, is like the busiest of the bunch. He's always in stuff. Him and Jennifer Aniston.
Really?
Him and Jennifer Aniston.
No, he was in that one where he was like a young dude, kind of like the 13 going on 30, but
17 again. Zac Efron.
Yeah, no, but he's done a bunch. He does. He's like, I feel like every 3 years he has a new comedy on NBC that lasts for approximately half a season. But yeah, like he had one that was like it was almost like Community.
What about Matt LeBlanc?
I don't know what he's really up to, and like Lisa Kudrow still does stuff, but a little lower attention.
Yeah, she's coming out in something soon.
Yeah, she's in Space Force. Actually, I take it back. It's not low level. Yeah, she's in Space Force.
What about I'm on a Break, dude? I don't know his actual name. Oh, he's also on something. Ross.
He was in People vs. OJ or whatever, the American crime story thing on FX. He played a lawyer.
Courtney Cox? I guess she was on a horror movie.
She. Last thing I remember is she was in Cougar Town.
Cougar Town.
Yeah, so they're all doing stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, but like,
well, the only one we haven't mentioned is I already forgot her name, but I'm sure
Jennifer
she's
Aniston?
the one that we all know.
Lisa Kudrow.
Oh yeah, there you go.
No, he said Kudrow. She's in Space Force.
Oh.
Yeah, just Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
she was in that movie with the dude from The Office.
She had
the RV. I think it was called RV.
Oh no, it was called, and it wasn't the dude from The Office. It was
We're the Millers.
It's We're the Millers, and it was
Jason
Sudeikis from SNL. Yeah, Jason Sudeikis from
Being
Married
Hangover?
to Olivia Wilde. What?
The guy from The Hangover?
Ed Helms. He's from The Office.
I keep confused.
I know. Listen, I can say this as one. I mean, I'm not in Hollywood, but I can say this. All us like generic white dudes look the same.
You're definitely not generic.
I'm not generic. I'm yes. Listen, let me.
I take that back. There were a few times at E3, I want to say 2 years ago, where I could have sworn I saw you, and I started walking towards the back of you, and then you turned around. And,
you also told me when you went to San Francisco for GDC last year that you kept seeing me around. Jasons. Yeah, because I'm a different cut of generic white dude. I'm nerd generic.
Yeah,
those guys are like Hollywood generic, but we're all in our own collective way generic.
Man, I feel sorry for all those that I confused you for. I apologize to you if you were one of them.
Wait, don't apologize to me, just to them.
Well, no, because you have to live.
There's more poor souls out there that look like
have
Jason.
To be. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I do feel bad for them. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going with this, but it's just I think we're hitting a tipping point with streaming services where it's too many. That's, I guess, the takeaway.
I think we already hit that.
I look forward. It's already happening with the Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle, but I can't wait till they're like, we're going to bundle 12 different streaming services together for $50 a month. And I'll be like, cool, you just invented cable. Like, it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time.
I mean, I hate that. Well, I love Crunchyroll. I love that it has a ton of stuff on there. But I hate that it's not like the one-stop shop for all your anime stuff. Like, oh, Netflix, like, has a stranglehold on a bunch of things that are really good. And then there's also like some stuff on Funimation that they keep close to the chest, and I forgot the other one.
High Dive.
Yeah, High Dive, and there's even some stuff on Verve. So it's kind of spread out, but
it's
at least you do get the main stuff on Crunchyroll, I guess. And I say main stuff because, you know, it's the more mainstream stuff, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that I'm missing out on that, for all I know, could be my favorite.
But yeah, it's all gonna fracture more and more and more until at some point, I think we're at the tipping point, so we'll see what happens. Like Quibi, not that they have anything of note, but they bombed hard. So like there are gonna be some that aren't gonna take off. I think the ones that are for big monolithic corporations like AT&T with HBO Max, or what was that?
A bookshelf fell.
Oh, yeah, that's the weight of all these streaming services on it. But yeah, AT&T for HBO Max, like Comcast for Peacock, like those will live on because they have the muscle behind it. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird because music tried this. Do you guys remember a few years ago where like albums were exclusive to a streaming service for like a couple months or permanently?
I guess I don't.
Like when
I guess you guys would for sure.
Yeah, like it was just like the big releases, like only on like Kanye's Life of Pablo only on Tidal, or Beyonce's Lemonade only on Tidal, for like, or Jay-Z for a long time did not put any of his stuff on Spotify. And Apple Music started dabbling in it, Spotify started dabbling in it, and then just collectively the industry went, you know what, this doesn't make sense, and just stopped. And it's great because now whatever you have, you can access your genre you enjoy. So like to your anime point, you know, if TVs were like music services, if streaming TV services were like music services, you log in with what you want and you just access a library. But because of how, I guess the dichotomy of it all, it's not, and now you're gonna have like 7 services.
And when it works, I mean, I'm more than happy to pay the money. Like, I remember in college, I guess before the server Crunchyroll, I did go to like Kiss Anime or those like websites where you could just like stream them, I guess not very legally. Mm-hmm. But then once I found out that there was a better way that actually was convenient, it's only $50 a year, so it's like really cheap. And yeah, so now I did that.
And that's really what they're banking on, and that's what sort of saves the music industry.
But now there's like
is convenience.
But now there's so many shows across multiple platforms that I want to watch. But that'd just be way too much if I bought all of them. Like, there's some stuff on HBO Max, there's some stuff on Hulu, there's some stuff on Netflix.
And I think
it almost makes me want to pirate again.
I think that's the tipping point indicator. It's not going to be necessarily that the content isn't consumed. People will just go back to consuming it in what they find easier ways, i.e. piracy.
I don't know. Back when Netflix was like the only thing.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because like, I can't think of a good example. But let's say there's a show that you want to watch, and it's one show on HBO Max, and it's $15 for that one show, while you're paying $6 for Disney, $8 for Hulu, $12 for Netflix. Are you gonna go
paying like for cable again?
Yeah, exactly. Like the joke I was saying before. Like,
it's on demand all the time.
Let's say you have your one HBO Max show. Let's say you already burned through your trial from the last season of it a year ago. Are you going to pay the $15, or are you just going to, if you already know all the resources from before, just go like one of those websites where you can just stream it for free and not worry about it? So. Now, some people are very
rich.
Yeah. No, I was going to say some people are very serious about not stealing content, wanting to support the creators. But there's a lot of folks out there that are just like, nah, this is too much. I don't have this money. I can't. Especially now with the economy. Like, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to animation, if I could support it, which is why I subscribe to Crunchyroll, like, I'll definitely do it just because it is really expensive and, like, ridiculously hard. It's not like you can just get an actor to do... I mean, not that acting is easy, but comparing to animation, it's like you have to have someone do their line, but someone that has to draw every single little frame of it. So
yeah,
they need all the support, especially like Japanese anime. Like, they get paid like so poorly. It's kind of borderline. It's terrible, apparently.
Yeah, it's funny because there's almost like hierarchy to this, right? Because like, the streaming sounds better when you're...
It's not great.
Yeah, but I mean, there's hierarchy to like the whole idea of like what you're willing to support. Because like streaming, you're like, oh well, $15 I get so much stuff. But then meanwhile, out comes like, the movies are not even bothering to put in theaters anymore because theaters aren't open. And it's just like, oh, for $20 you can watch 90 minutes of Scoob or whatever, or I don't even know, or The Lovebirds on Netflix. You can watch like this 90-minute. Well, no, that's a bad example because they aren't doing that. They're doing it right with The Lovebirds, but with like Scoob or with Trolls or with a couple others. I know Palm Springs from The Lonely Island will be doing. No, I take that back. Palm Springs is Hulu. Okay, most real live-action movies are avoiding this. Most real, like, animated movies, I'm saying real in the sense of theatrical, don't seem to be.
But, it's theatrical.
Yeah, I know. But I guess what I'm getting at is, like, what is the logic even for selling Trolls for $20 or Scoob for $20 to one person versus getting a $15 streaming service versus getting a $10 streaming service?
I guess
versus
new,
pirating.
But I don't know. I mean, apparently Trolls did like ridiculously well with this model.
Yeah,
but
no, but I mean, like at some level, like if people don't want to necessarily pay for this many streaming services, are they going to pay $20 for literally Scoob is like an hour and 33 minutes? Are they going to pay $20 for that if they're not going to pay 15 for HBO Max for their one show?
Well, to be fair,
that's what I mean.
I think it's like $20 to rent it, or it's like 24 to own it. And
yeah, that's
like,
even worse.
And in the case of Scoob and those, like that's not even worth it. It's like how much you would pay normally when you would buy it new.
Yeah.
So you pretty much just get to buy it, and you don't even have to rent it. If anything, they're losing money. Oh, unless that's what you meant.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Is because people aren't going to necessarily bite the bullet on that. And I get right now why they're doing it, and Trolls did.
Well, I mean, not twice. I mean, it's not like you go to the theater and pay for your ticket and then buy it after.
Yeah.
In this case, they're just missing out on one.
Yeah, but even then, or people just won't buy it because they don't think. If a movie like Lovebirds go on Netflix and that's like a theatrical release of a live action quality, probably on par with like Scoob as an animated movie in terms of like like a mid range movie type of thing. Like if I'm on Netflix, well, I'm like, well, I'm gonna pay $20 for Scoob. I'm gonna get Lovebirds for free. Like what in my head, how do you reconcile that to make Scoob worth it? Is the type of thing. Granted, I don't have children, so that's a bad example. But
I don't know. I feel like. I don't know. I think it is just knowing that something is coming to Netflix and something that was supposed to be a theatrical release. Like, I don't think anyone. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I probably am, but it's like knowing that Scoob and Trolls were coming out in theater and then suddenly weren't. I was still under mentality. All right, it's still gonna cost like 13 to 20, like to like get it on a home release,
right?
Especially because they realize that most people are going to have a family, so in reality, it's like they're paying like $5 per ticket if it's like a family of 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying is like those movies I rattled off that were.
So it feels easy to separate. I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking because like Palm Springs from Lonely
like,
Island.
I can't watch it anywhere else otherwise. It just comes down to whether you want to watch Scoob or not whether you want to compare Scoob to some other movie.
Let me rephrase. I don't mean you're not going to watch Scoob. I mean, are you going to pay $20 or you're just going to go find out one of those free websites real quick? That's what I mean. To your point about like how many streaming services, because because Lovebirds was supposed to come out the same weekend as Scoob in theaters. So if Lovebirds is free on Netflix and Scoob wants $20,
okay, I see what you mean. I guess how soon? Yeah, people will get to the pirating a lot sooner.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, people are still going to watch Scoob. It's just do you go get your VLC or whatever that player is, or do you?
Pay? The moment any movie, theatrical or otherwise, gets like a Blu-ray release, they already get pirated. But I see
it's basically day one piracy now. And to be clear, I think.
But on the other hand, I mean, considering how much money Trolls made in spite of all the pirating, I mean, you're also getting a ton of people that, for better or worse, I guess kind of like me, like, I'm going to watch this movie just randomly, and I pretty much overpaid to watch a movie by myself, and I'm sure you got a ton of that, which kind of makes up for that.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. But the question becomes, it just becomes more...
I'm sure their expectations also get lower. Yeah. I mean, the sales. But...
I guess, my thinking is over time...
Oh, I said the S word.
I was going to say over time does this shift. Like right now people are willing to do it because this is temporary, we're all stuck at home, and it'll stay somewhat temporary, but theaters aren't reopening in a regular capacity for a long time, maybe 25%. So will people start going, okay, I really don't want to pay $20 again when half the movies are right here on my streaming service, like maybe I'll just pirate this like that. I don't know if they're thinking long term with this right now, which they don't necessarily have to. Maybe this is all over in due time. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point, but it'll be interesting to watch as they push more streaming services that are mostly back catalog, especially with HBO Max, where they didn't even fully do the back catalog. Like, they're advertising. They have a great ad campaign, by the way, where it's like where this meets that. So it's like where The Dark Knight meets something else. I think it's a Watchmen reference, or where like the Time Lord meets the Fresh Prince, or something like that for Doctor Who and Fresh Prince. So those are cool ads, but one of them was the Batman one, the Dark Knight one. None of the Nolan Batman movies are on HBO Max, but they're using it to promote it right now. So it's like, what? You're not even getting what you think you're getting when you buy these things. So, where is this all going to shake out as people spend money on smaller streaming services, bigger streaming services, individual movies that aren't on streaming services, and at what point do people just get fed up is kind of why I'm wondering. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
There is a blaxploitation streaming service that you can pay for on a monthly basis called Drive Turkey, and that's
really
my entire input on this.
That's
this one thing. HBO Max is not available on Roku, devices.
Or Amazon devices.
Or Amazon devices.
Also,
Apple devices?
yes, that reminds me.
Apple
I have one
devices
more thought on
and-
HBO. I have one more thought. I don't mean to monopolize this about AT&T's getting a ton of... No, this one's kind of weird. Why is it so hard to get HBO Max? Like, why is it that they're like... So there's HBO Now, there's HBO Go, there's HBO Max, there's HBO, right? Some people who have Now can get HBO...
Wait, you mean HBO Max isn't everything?
No.
It's not the max?
It
amount of content?
is, but you're not guaranteed to get it. So... HBO Max comes with your HBO subscription if you're subscribed to certain cable providers. HBO Max is an upgrade from HBO Now if you have HBO Now. HBO Go, which comes with your HBO from your cable, some of them can get Max and some of them are stuck still on Go. And there's not a clear-cut way to know which you have. You have to dig into their FAQ and then they list which providers are supported.
Just play it safe and pay the $15 a month.
Why exactly would you try to upgrade from HBO Go to HBO Max? If you have HBO Go, you have HBO. Why aren't you going from HBO to HBO Max?
Because HBO Go comes with HBO if you have a cable subscription.
Right.
So if you want Max, if you're on Spectrum, I think, or Xfinity, or some of those cable providers, you get your Go replaced with Max for free. Go's phased out for you. If you're on some other cable providers, you still have Go. So half the people that are paying $15 or $20 or whatever the cable package is to include their HBO comes with Max, and half the people that are paying the exact same amount to include their HBO comes with only Go. It doesn't make sense. It's the exact same purchase. There are 4 branches of HBO that don't all equally mean the same thing, even though their content overlaps in pricing and setup. It's just regionality. Like I have Frontier for my cable out here. Frontier hasn't signed a deal with HBO. Yeah, so Fios, Verizon, used to be our cable and internet and phone. They bought some other company on the East Coast, and part of the deal with the government is they had to give up California. So then we got Frontier, who is bankrupt currently. So we have Frontier, and they haven't signed a deal with HBO, but we're paying the same price for HBO that the dude with Fios one state over is, and he gets HBO Max. So it's like I don't understand.
So in that case, I just get rid of HBO and just get HBO Max.
But what if, like in this case, hypothetically, you have a household where people like watching HBO on demand on the cable box? What you do there? So it's just we as consumers shouldn't be having to. Correct. I'm just saying we as consumers should not have to be like figuring out the best way to circumvent AT&T having 4 basically identical services with nearly identical names. It's really like that's the one thing streaming is supposed to make easy. You pay and you're done. They somehow
to be fair, they have 3 services. I don't count HBO Go as a service, considering that it's just your HBO subscription.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So they have 3. Yeah. They have 3 that have the same name. And that doesn't include AT&T Now, which is a 4th service, or DC Universe, which is a 5th service, half of which content it goes in HBO Max, but half of which does not. Swamp Thing, or whatever it's called, is in HBO Max. Harley Quinn is not. Arbitrarily.
Well, Swamp Thing is dead, so...
But I mean, it was a DC exclusive, DC Universe exclusive thing. You could still go stream it. You could still go stream it exclusively in DC Universe, but also in HBO Max. While Harley, you can only stream in DC Universe.
Yeah, strictly speaking about the launch of this,
it's been that's what I mean. It's really bad. They'll clean it up, but like they don't. I mean, this is the company that said that like they have 5G-E, which is not a thing. It's 4G. So they're very bad at branding. Anyway,
true.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well,
that's my rant.
Jason already spilled the beans as usual. This is going to be just a.
Wait, what I spilled the beans on this time?
What did I do? Talk about Trolls World Tour real quick, or not real quick. Take your time.
Yeah,
I wasn't spilling the beans. Yeah, it was relevant to my conversation.
Yeah, you dropped both of them in.
Oh, but it wasn't to segue. I was just making a point using them. But okay, fair enough.
I know we're just putting you on the spot.
I know. Go ahead. Onward.
But yeah, I mean, well, I mentioned last time that I watched Scoob and Trolls, and I remember last time I think I also gave like a couple sentences, like 1 sentence review of it, but I'll have to go a little more in depth into it. So, man, the world building in Trolls, as I said before, is amazing. Like,
it's such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, that sentence, man.
It is, and like I only watched it because I was curious. Like, I was just curious, like where, like the premise, like I thought was interesting. Like the first one, I mean, Jason and I watched it
unfinished.
Like before it was even it was an unfinished version that we got like early. We saw a screening of it, an early screening. Okay. We had to sign a survey. Like some parts were fully animated, some parts were just like, animatics hand drawn, and other parts were very low poly. But this one, like the first one, sets up the world, and it wasn't even this world. It's just the trolls are happy. These Bergen monsters want to eat them so they can be happy, and the end of the movie is just them coming together to, I guess, finding common ground to not get eaten
and sing,
to make the trolls happy,
and to sing.
And sing.
It's a musical.
Yeah. Yep. It's Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake commercial, but the second one doesn't even like have the Bergens or the trolls in them. I mean, they do make like a cameo at the very end, but this movie kind of feels like what the first one should have been. Essentially, it introduces that there's a whole world of trolls, and the trolls that we were watching in the first movie were the pop trolls, and they kind of and the pop trolls kind of divide into other subgenres like rap and hip hop and like those kind of beats. But then there's also metal trolls, country trolls, techno trolls, and I think it was not jazz. Funk trolls and classical music trolls, and each of them also have subdivisions. But
I love how out of context this sounds like you're just talking about rival factions on the internet that just like attack each other for their views. Jazz trolls and rock trolls. And
well, the movie is pretty much that.
Oh, really?
I love that the movie establishes this, that they aren't just one kind of troll. They get really like fun and wild with the designs of the trolls. Like the techno trolls have their hearts exposed, and they look like little, not in a gory way. I don't know, that kind of sounds like
yeah, I was about to say. I'm sorry, what?
Like their hearts are little like pixelated hearts that kind of like pulse to the beat of their music, because they're just doing like one more time, and they look kind of like they look like mermaid trolls. They look kind of interesting. And then the country trolls are obviously kind of like centaurs or like horses. But so the movie, besides also looking like it came out of like Yoshi's or like Little Big Planet, I don't want to say a Nintendo thing. The like animation style is just great. Like they do like some like fake stop motion like sometimes throughout the movie, and I don't know, it's just very pleasing to the eyes. It's like one of the movies that if you have access to it, I wouldn't say go out of your way to pay for it, because plot wise it's just okay. It's like one of those things that it feels like it could have gone further with it. It's like it has potential, but it just doesn't go all the way with it. And yeah, it keeps it simple. I mean, it's a kids movie, so. But I mean, the same studio also gave us Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon, and those movies I feel are more for all ages. This one definitely skews younger. But essentially, Barb, the queen of the rock trolls, wants metal to take over everything because she feels it's the best type of music. And she brings up pretty solid complaints about every genre of music that I feel people like that love those or I guess people that hate those genres of music would point those things out if they were to, attack someone that likes that type of music. Kind of just saying like pop is so like repetitive, it's just catchy and like annoying, or like classical music is very boring and doesn't really have like a lot going on. Just like typical things that I guess a lot of people have felt at some point. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and the way she just like, I don't know who did the voice acting for her, but the way she was portrayed was just really good. Like, I don't know, she felt like a very believable character. Like, I was kind of rooting for her to succeed.
Wow.
And
wow, you're egging on the trolls. Ooh. It's
but
she's played by Rachel Bloom of My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, I guess it doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, someone out there listening is like, "Oh, Rachel Bloom." I guarantee someone.
She did a good job with it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That movie definitely caught me off guard. I mean, was it worth paying $20? No, but I guess because I just love animation and just wanted to like watch. I mean, because I didn't have to go to the theater for it. I mean, I don't regret it, but I feel like I wouldn't recommend it to someone at that price. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth watching. I mean, you have, I don't know, it's a very creative film. It's very creative, I will say. Which I guess kind of leads into the other stay-at-home movie that I watched, which was Scoob, which I know Jason has also seen.
Mm-hmm. I've also seen Scoob.
Oh man, this movie. this movie. Oh yeah, Kevin saw it. Yeah, we saw it at the same time. Yeah, this movie. I mean, I'll just say that I enjoyed it. I liked the movie.
I also enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
Like,
on some levels.
I definitely won't say that. Like, it just had some problems. It felt like they definitely wanted to do different things with the movie. I don't know, it felt like there were a lot of contradicting storylines that just didn't really work well together. I mean, I guess we'll just start with the voice cast. Like, Frank Welker did Scooby. Scooby was Scooby. Mm-hmm. He also looked great. I felt he looked as great as he could have looked in a CG movie. Mm-hmm. And apparently it was really hard to get that model looking just right. And apparently they had to use a bunch of different, like, camera trickery and different models to make him look right from different angles. Just because, Scooby was meant to be in a 2D environment. So putting him in CG, or I guess any cartoon character,
his proportions don't work in full 3D normally, unless they do some trickery. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how some shows acknowledge it's like, if you ever watched The Amazing World of Gumball, they do a gag where all the characters, if they turn at a 3/4 angle, they don't look right because, they're just supposed to be looked at from one specific angle. But anyway, yeah, like Frank Welker was great. Everyone else, I don't know. Like, you already had Frank Welker. I guess he would have sounded too old for the Freddy they had. But, I mean, I was surprised. I thought Freddy was as funny as he was. He was definitely I think, like, my most memorable character.
That's a fine voice stylings of Zac Efron, of all people.
Fred was definitely my favorite part of the movie.
Like, almost like every line that he said, like, actually got, like, a genuine, like, laugh out of me. Or, like, most of us that saw it. It was, like, it just kind of came, it was, I don't know. It was funny. I think the one that, I mean, Velma and Daphne, I mean, it just felt like they were just there. Like, I no real issues with their voices, but I don't know. I feel like they didn't really do much with them, but I guess the one that probably was the one that hurt the most was Shaggy.
Played by Will Forte.
I don't know. It felt like he was doing a poor impression of whoever normally does Shaggy. Like, honestly, they could have just gotten the voice of... I always forget his name. Whoever played live-action Shaggy. Yeah, like, he does a really good Shaggy. Even if it's not, like, the one that sounds like in the cartoon, I feel like just the way he portrayed him just sounds really great. I mean, the one in the cartoon just sounded like he had, like he struggles to talk. Or, like, he was always, like, half asleep or something. Which Shaggy normally doesn't. I feel like... I mean, he does have, like, a slower, like, speed to his talking, but... I don't know. This one just sounded... It was weird.
You just felt the cadence was off, basically?
Yeah.
Like, more than the voice, like, the actual cadence of the voice?
Yeah, it just felt like he was struggling to talk a lot of the time. I don't know. Like, a lot of the delivery just felt... I don't know. Just heavy. I don't know what
it was definitely off-putting.
A little.
Compared to the rest of the
podcast. Like, every time he talked, it was just awkward. I was like, ugh, like, this is what it's like to get a celebrity forced into a movie. I mean, when they could have just... I mean, Scooby-Doo has been a thing for so many years that I feel like everyone knows or has an idea of what Shaggy sounds like. Even if you didn't really watch Scooby-Doo or consider yourself a big fan. And, I don't know, I feel like even anyone could just tell you that that voice just wasn't that great. Unless you thought it was great, Jason.
No, I'm sure I mean, I like Will Forte, but I was kind of... The voice didn't, like, hurt me as much as it hurt you. No, but I mean, like, it didn't, like... It felt a little off, but it didn't bother me in the same way. Like, it felt as off as some of the others to me. Like, it didn't really, like, jump out. But I do get what you're saying. It is different, for sure.
And I guess kind of tying it back to our discussion about the Snyder Cut, like, this movie did go through a ton of rewrites. Yeah. Like, there actually was a completely different plot of the movie, or, like, somewhat similar, but that actually, was a little longer and it tied more things together, which would make sense because, like, they don't even really solve a mystery in this movie.
No.
And the argument at the end just felt so contrived.
The friendship?
Like, when Scooby and Shaggy, like, go into, towards, like, the last arc of the movie, the main characters have to fight, and then they come back together at the end, and these two was like, oh, you're going to take off your collar? Oh, man, like, no, they give a pretty good reason, like, why he had to take it off. I mean, not good reason, but...
Well, what's weird
is, like... I have to take it off, like, oh, it's okay. But, I don't know, everything they've been through, I don't know, it felt forced.
What was
like,
weird...
A lot of that just felt like, like the plot has to happen, so they have to fight.
What was weird about that to me is, okay, full Scoob spoilers, because I know no one out there necessarily cares that much. So they have him, if you do care, jump ahead about a minute. So they have him take off the collar, but he doesn't take off the collar without first checking with Shaggy if he can take off the collar. And Shaggy's like,
Yeah,
go ahead,
exactly.
take off the collar. And then immediately Shaggy gets all mopey and sad. And then Scoob's like, but you told me to take off the collar. And Shaggy's like, you got to choose me or the people that made you take off the collar. He's like, but you gave me permission, human. Why'd you give me permission?
I know. And what I thought was funny is that like when they put on this like suit on him, like they give him like a. It's like it comes with like a redesigned collar that it's pretty much based off of the collar that Shaggy gave
it's the
him.
same
So
pendant.
I thought they were even going to be like, it's like, oh, they're honoring the pendant. It's like, oh, that's cool. It's like he still has it on. It's like, nope, it wasn't the original one. So screw you, Scooby-Doo. Which
That's a great name for a new spinoff. Yeah.
Screw you, Scooby-Doo.
Screw you, Scooby-Doo.
I just imagine like Scooby-Doo being like
In constant bad situations.
or just being like a dick to everybody else.
Yeah,
But
screw you, Scooby-Doo. Oh man, I honestly that might have made for a better Scooby-Doo thing. Like I feel like the movie did a lot right. Like I thought one thing that really jumped.
the references were good. Oh man,
Well, I was gonna say the
laughing
sound
dog.
cues.
I love the laughing dog.
Oh yeah,
I
from Wacky Racers. Yeah, no, he's great. But I was gonna say
Every time he laughed.
even before that, like I'll get to references in a minute because my childhood was Hanna-Barbera cartoons in a lot of ways. So like all that stuff I was super geeked out about. But like the sound cues, I feel like every sound effect and every sound cue in the movie was like spot on. All the like kind of over the top cartoony sounds. The shot
they
for
embraced
shot,
the fact that it was a cartoon. It was
yeah,
cool.
and the shot for shot recreation of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You intro in 3D.
That was super cool.
There were so many cool things sound design wise that I really appreciated. And like they were all, they got through they did all the tropes. They had the giant sandwich. They had like they did everything. They even did the leaning on pop culture element that 70s Scooby-Doo was all about. But I don't know how you guys felt about it. It felt maybe because it's current pop culture while we were watching Scooby like 20, 30 years after it aired. But for some reason, the pop culture stuff in this one just felt way more forced to me. It's exactly the same, I think, but just like took me out of it more. I don't know.
It's literally the same.
I know,
mean,
that's what's so weird. Is I know it's the same.
No, I don't know. Honestly, it felt fine. Like every time like there's like a celebrity cameo in the old Scooby-Doo cartoons, it was usually after they were at their peak. So putting Simon in kind of felt like they were
Simon Cowell's
doing that intentionally.
Simon Cowell being
was
there
fine.
was.
Simon was fine.
I thought it was. Wow, I thought it was weird. Why not just make a character and just have Simon Cowell voice him?
Well, I think for the same reason that they had like the Globetrotters in it in the 70s.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did a whole series called like the new Scooby-Doo movies, where every episode is like them with a celebrity cameo.
Yeah, and even Scooby-Doo Where Are You had it a bit, but
I mean, there's also a bunch. I mean, Scooby-Doo crossed with John Cena not too long ago in a movie.
Yeah, but I think what like jumped out to me more is maybe because it like feels so of the moment, while the other one had references to celebrities, but this one
Is Simon doing something now?
he's on America's Got Talent, I think, as one of the judges. But
oh, of course.
yeah, of course. But no, like something I don't know, something about the
Yeah.
references were just like I can't quite put my finger
They
on
should have
it.
picked
It felt
a
so
celebrity from the 90s.
of,
That would have been
yes,
cool.
because I think that's it. It felt so of this very moment, minus Simon maybe, that like I feel like it's not going to age as well. Because like 70s Scooby-Doo, they do celebrity references, but the rest is kind of self-contained, right? But this one, there's so many references to outside things. I'm just like, I don't know, like the Chris and like the Chris and Liam Hemsworth line. Like that was not a bad line comparing comparing Fred to them. But does that age
Or
as well
Netflix?
as some
Is
of
that
the?
what you mean?
Or no, the Netflix one wasn't as bad. But like the line where it's like, "Oh, come here, knock off Hemsworth." He's like, "Oh, Chris or Liam." It's like, is that going to age well in 15 years? Like a lot of Scooby-Doo stuff from the 70s, either it went over my head and I didn't notice, or it was the only references were the things directly in front of you in the show, like the cameos. So that sort of thing, I'm just kind of like, I don't know how it's going to age, but it's a very minor.
They definitely could. Yeah, they definitely could use more cameos too. It's like I feel like all the best ones were like during the end credits scene.
All the cameos are Hanna-Barbera. Yeah, that's the other thing I want to talk about.
Oh no! Yeah, well, no, I meant like they could have used more
Oh,
Hanna-Barbera
yeah.
cameos. I mean, there were some. I mean, there were a good
Well,
amount.
there's two ways of looking at it.
Or just I mean, there were a couple cameos and then a lot of references, but then like all the stuff they were showing in the end credits, I'm like, oh, I wish that was in the movie.
Yeah.
Or, like
The fact that
I'd got to that
I
point.
tweeted this last night after watching it, but the fact that they left out Secret Squirrel really bothers me because I love Secret Squirrel as a kid, and that was one of Hanna-Barbera. That's from the exact same era, late 60s, early 70s of Hanna-Barbera, that Scooby-Doo and Jabberjaw and Adam Ant and all the ones that they dropped in there. Wacky Racers, that's where Dick Dastardly comes from. Or is made part of. Like all of that was in there, and they just conveniently left out the best one. Come on. But no,
I feel
yeah,
like everything I did like Dynamite was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the way they redesigned them to not be just like a a Scooby in a costume.
Yeah, I mean they even put
even though he was still a robot, but I mean he just
he looked different. He stood out, and they even put like Hong Kong Phooey in there of all things. Like on one of the arcade machines, there's a quick shot of Hong Kong Phooey, but they couldn't put Secret Squirrel. No, but to your point about the Hanna-Barbera, there's two ways of looking at it. They could have done more references, or they could have maybe like, I don't know, explain some of these references a bit better. They felt so forced. Like, it's just like halfway through the movie, they're just like, oh, here's this now, and here's that. Like, it felt like they were building towards an eventual, and I'm fine with this if they want to do it, a Wacky Racers movie that's basically the Avengers of Hanna-Barbera characters, which I am so on board with.
The original, the original idea for the movie was to do, like, set up for, like, an extended universe, or maybe they're still doing that.
Right. I guess it just felt kind of forced.
But it ended up being, like, a plot that doesn't necessarily even need them to have cameos. Like, all those characters that came out that were Hanna-Barbera characters could have been anyone else, and the plot wouldn't have changed.
And the thing was,
which originally, like, they were going to matter, and I thought that sounded way more interesting than what we got.
I agree.
And it's kind of weird that, like, since we didn't get that with this, they're still going ahead on, I think, HBO Max. They have a show coming out called Yellowstone. Yeah, Yellowstone. That is literally a Hanna-Barbera universe. Like, it's just all, like, the different Hanna-Barbera cartoons living in a town called Yellowstone.
Dude, that sounds amazing. That's literally what Wacky Racers was. Yeah, Wacky Racers was, what if we take all our cartoon characters and put them in a never-ending, like, Mad Max-style race?
And whether you like and it's directed by, it's going to be directed by the guy, I think his name is Greenblatt. I forgot his name, but he did Chowder. So if you like Chowder, then you'll like this show.
I'm very intrigued by this because I think Hanna-Barbera is at its best when they embrace the fact that they've all these ridiculous characters that don't really make sense, but actually kind of live together. Like, they all are cut from the same cloth, so it makes sense.
I don't know if any of you watched Harvey Attorney at Law, but there was an episode where they brought Shaggy to court. Like, pretty much the whole premise was that there were so many Shaggy clones, and there were, like, bringing up all the different Shaggys from the different shows that were pretty much exactly Shaggy, you know, like from Jabberjaw and the something Sabretooth and the talking Buggy. Right. There's so many.
And I think the what's interesting is so many people, like, I saw it online when people are talking about Scoob. Like, I personally feel some of the references were forced. Like, just be like, here's Blue Falcon. You know him. He's Shaggy's favorite. It's like, people don't know him if they don't know 70s Hanna-Barbera. But anyway, you know, if they, where did I go with this? A lot of people online were saying that it felt very, like, haphazardly done. And, you know, why are they trying to build, like, a Hanna-Barbera universe? It feels like such a knockoff of, like, Avengers and stuff. But if they look, that's what Hanna-Barbera, they're the first to do this. I mean, they did it, like, Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. Space Ghost was originally a show about a guy in space, like, in the 60s. Like, Wacky Racers was in the 70s. Like, they were cross-referencing. Scooby-Doo's been doing it forever, too, as you, I think,
yeah, he's crossed over with Jabberjaw and other characters. Yeah,
like,
before.
This is, like, Hanna-Barbera basically built a Looney Tunes universe, but instead of keeping all the shows under the banner of a Looney Tunes type brand, they let them live independently and then mix and match. They were the Marvel Comics of TV in a lot of ways. So
Flintstones has come out in freaking Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, or even following that logic, Flintstones meets the Jetsons. That was a thing a long time ago. So, like, this isn't new for them. But a lot of people are like, oh, why are they trying to do this? Why does it feel so forced? And I agree it feels forced, but I completely understand why they're doing it because it is.
But that's just because
it's the DNA of Hanna-Barbera. Yeah. This is what they've always done. Yeah. I will say, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Fine.
This is my podcast. You go.
Okay,
thank
you.
I'm pulling that card.
I saw or heard. I will say there was a really good little Flintstones reference in the movie. I'm sure you guys might have caught. I don't know if you guys caught it, maybe, but when they're fighting Captain Caveman, another classic character.
Oh, yeah.
Voiced by Tracy Morgan that was a good choice. That was funny. But they when they start the fight, they blow a bird whistle to start, and it's the exact same color and animation of the bird whistle at the start of Flintstones.
Oh, yeah. You could tell, like, the animation and the art was done with a lot of love and care. But
this was absolutely a love letter to Hanna-Barbera.
Mm-hmm.
And the flack that this movie is getting is the fact that why is this a love letter to Hanna-Barbera and not just Scooby-Doo, which I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I feel like they wanted this movie to be their Lego movie where they could just spin it off, because I bet you a Blue Falcon spin-off was either in or is in production right now.
For sure. There's so much backstory they purposely left there. Yeah.
It's like,
I think if they branded it Hanna-Barbera Presents Scoob or something like that, it could have justified it more.
Yeah, maybe.
Or like Scoob, a Hanna-Barbera tale or a Hanna-Barbera story. Because the thing with Lego Movie, the thing with all those other crossovers is it's not the character, it's the brand that's presented as. Trolls is not the name of Justin Timberlake's troll, it's Trolls. You know, like all these toy-based ones, all these brand-based ones are an overarching name, not a character. Like, can you imagine if they, I mean, granted they launched the Avengers with Iron Man, so it started with Iron Man, but can you imagine if like the first Marvel movie was Avengers, but they just called it Iron Man? People would be like, wait, why are all these other guys here already? I want an Iron Man movie. Like, you need to build towards it or present it in a way where it's clear that you already are launching from that point, and they kind of botched that one angle. But then that changes expectations, and here we are. But yeah, I really want them to do Wacky Racers. I hope they do. And I think there's some jokes that landed flat that they could, it could have been punched up a bit, the script, but for the most part, it was actually pretty good, I thought. The one reference I did not like, you know, I was saying that Secret Squirrel was missing? Yeah. This one drove me crazy. So when they go on Blue Falcon's ship, and every time I say Blue Falcon, I keep wanting to say Captain Falcon, but wrong podcast. Every time they go on his ship, or not every time, when they go on his ship, they light up the ship like in 3 like steps, and then he walks out from the doorway. The jingle they play for those 3 steps as they light up is the AT&T corporate, like, they call it the Sonic logo. It's their identifier at the end of all their commercials. The like ding. I can't do it because I always I'm saying NBC when I try it. But it's like there's a specific 3-note sequence that AT&T from about 2012 to 2016 or 17 always ended their commercials with. It was like their call sign basically, and they put that in the movie in the same way they reference legit Hanna-Barbera stuff. They put that in, and I just like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, we don't need a reminder that Hanna-Barbera is owned by Warner, who's owned by Warner Media, who's owned by AT&T. Like, you could just let it be the little Hanna-Barbera universe.
I mean, with that train of thought, I mean, they also reminded us that they own DC and Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, and some of that synergy, but that kind of works because they're all like entertainment properties.
No, it worked with the Halloween thing, yeah. I mean,
yeah, and actually, I thought
it was definitely more natural, yeah.
Yeah, but like
especially how like Shaggy mistook a judge for the Harry Potter character.
Oh yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Like some of those jokes worked really well, and actually, I liked. I actually thought Daphne's Wonder Woman costume was kind of cool because it was clearly Wonder Woman, but wasn't like the design they use in the movies, so it actually sort of stood out. But that AT&T jingle just took me out of it so much. I actually paused the movie and went to go make sure I heard it correctly. I went on YouTube and like looked up the AT&T jingle. I was like, oh my god, it was. Why would they do that?
Obviously for people like us, that would make us like roll our eyes. But you know, this movie is for little kids, so. They're not going to be like, yo, that's the AT&T jingle. They're not going to be like, high five, corporate overlords are trying to...
Yeah, and definitely just like Trolls, this movie, I think definitely skews younger, but not as young as Trolls.
Yeah,
because there were definitely some jokes, mainly from Fred, that were like, oh, yeah, this is definitely...
Yeah, and to your point...
I mean, they weren't explicit, but they were also like definitely aimed at older... Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, and Kevin, to your point, you're right. Yeah, it's aimed at kids, but like that AT&T thing was for sure for the parents. That was for sure for the parents watching to go, oh, AT&T. Like, it was so like stupid.
And if you're curious, like, remember in the movie at one point they were dropping F-bombs, like literal F-bombs?
Yes, for Falcon.
Yeah, that was...
So apparently in the original draft, they were gonna grab them from a D bag. Like, you know, a bag with a big
see, that would be good.
And they had to grab them from the A hole in the D bag, but yeah, I guess they thought that was going too far.
That might have been a little bit much, yeah. But it would have been funny, but I could see why like they wouldn't want to present that to the younger kids.
Oh.
But yeah, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, I was mostly surprised by how like not bad it was compared to the online.
Most people usually overreact. I feel like critic reviews are usually like, it wasn't Citizen Kane, so it sucked.
But it also wasn't Scooby-Doo. Let's be fair.
Oh, that's
no, it wasn't. It was some weird. It was. It was.
That's true. We're not saying it was.
It was in a weird in between.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was in a weird in between space where I don't even think it quite knew what it was half the time.
Yeah, it was just a fun movie that I would say is worth watching if you happen to run into it.
But just be aware going in that like it's not going to necessarily be the most fluid. Like there's a lot of like haphazard, like now this guy's here, now this guy's here. Like they never explain why, I mean they kind of do, but like Captain Caveman was totally out of left field. I get how he got to be there, but I'm just saying like that was super random. And then they introduce him like, look at this guy, he's Captain Caveman. They make like a big deal of his name reveal, and it's just like most people don't know what you're doing with this.
And hopefully the AT&T jingle doesn't bother you as much as Jason.
But, it will. Just gonna
Yeah.
go Warner Brothers and protest. One man, one sign.
Just yourself.
Just
Get that
myself.
jingle at
Yeah.
I
I need the AT&T list cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So switching over to something not as kid friendly, I saw Ready or Not on a AT&T owned platform, HBO Now, a couple of days ago.
How was
Do
that?
you guys know about this movie?
If I'm
The one with not Margot Robbie, right?
The one with not Margot Robbie.
It's
correct.
the one that was supposed to come out, but then got delayed indefinitely, but then ended up coming out due to the political firestorm around it, right? Or not firestorm, that's a strong word.
No, you're thinking of.
I'm thinking of The Hunt.
You're thinking of.
Or Hunted.
You're
Or
Next?
Hunt. Something like that.
The Hunt?
The one where basically it's a bunch of, like, coastal people being hunted by people that live in not the coast areas. And it's like the dichotomy of the two sides of politics or something.
Oh, you're right. The Hunt.
Yeah.
The Hunt. No,
Yeah,
it
The
is
Hunt.
not. It's
Okay,
not The Hunt.
yeah,
Ready
never
or-
mind. I retract my guess.
So
I
you
only
haven't
know
seen-
about
you
it
haven't seen
because of something that just because of something I'm going to talk about later. But yeah,
Yeah.
as you were saying, Kevin.
Yeah, so Ready or Not, it's a horror movie. It's how do I explain this? Have you guys heard of You're Next?
Yes.
The movie?
Yes.
The people with the masks. Yeah.
Yeah, so this kind of echoes that. So the basic premise is this woman is going to marry into this rich family who own this huge mansion.
Oh, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yep,
But
exactly.
violent.
Crazy Rich. Yeah, but more battle royale. So basically,
Can you imagine if that was the pitch at the studio? So Crazy Rich Agents, it's that, but Battle Royale.
Right. So this woman is going to marry into this crazy rich family, and the crazy rich family, they're crazy rich because they own a board game company. And so on the night of her wedding, she has to play a game with her new family, and the game is hide and seek. And during a great montage, this woman has to hide in this mansion, and while she's hiding, this great song plays. And you see the rest of the family gearing up with weapons, with rifles, battle axes. They're gonna hunt her. They're gonna hunt her down, and they're gonna try and kill her. And what follows after is a very interesting take on not on the home invasion movie. It's kind of exactly the opposite, because she has no idea how to traverse this mansion. But so it's a horror movie because obviously she's being hunted down, but it's also very comedic. It's a very funny movie. And that's not something that I expected. The lead actress, I believe her name is Samara Weaving. She was in a Netflix exclusive movie called The Babysitter, which was also a horror movie that I haven't seen. That had what's her name? She was in that Disney Channel show with Zendaya. The redhead?
Bella Thorne?
Bella Thorne, yeah. So she was in that movie. And apparently she's great in that movie. She's awesome in this, being hunted down by this entire rich family. It's really funny. I hope you do watch it, Angel, because
I do want to watch it.
Oh, you saw the Cliff Notes, right?
Yeah, I just saw the Cliff Notes, but yeah, I really do. I want to watch it because I saw the Cliff Notes. I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool movie.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's really funny. It's not hysterical, but you definitely will be bursting out laughing. I just want to talk about that movie real quick, specifically because the directors of this movie are going to direct. They recently just got announced as the directors for Scream 5, and I love the Scream movies, with the exception of Scream 3. So I'm now really excited that Scream 5 is going to be in very capable hands. I don't know. Do you guys like the Scream movies?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen one. Somehow.
I know I enjoyed the first one, which also features Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Well, the live-action movies.
True.
He was one of the villains, I believe. Oh, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, which
No,
I guess
come on,
in
that-
these movies is a big spoiler because the whole point is to figure out who's Ghostface. But I think I only saw the first two.
The first two, yeah. So Scream 1, classic. Scream 2, I like. Scream 3 is a trash fire, but Scream 4, which came out I think like 10 years after Scream 3, was like really good. And those movies are always like meta. They're known for their meta commentary on like the horror genre. And this movie, This movie definitely isn't meta. I feel like the ending sort of makes it meta in a way. Angel knows the ending. Would you call it meta?
I would say it's subversive, but I don't know if it's meta.
Okay, so I guess being meta is a form of subversion, right? Like,
it's kind of there because because one is like acknowledging that you are what you are, and I feel like this one was more like, it's like, oh, you didn't think we would go there. It's like, oh, we actually did, or did we?
Well, I feel like the Scream movies definitely have instances of oh, you thought you knew where this was going, but so now I'm all of a sudden I didn't know that I wanted another Scream movie, especially because Scream had a weird TV series on MTV that
I remember that. Yeah,
that never picked up steam.
Yeah,
and hopefully, well, like I said, now I have hope for Scream 5 because of this movie. Because assuming they're going to use like the same writers, which I don't think they've announced, but I mean, I don't know. I'm hopeful now. Ready or not, and it still is available on HBO now. Go Disney Plus. No, not Disney Plus. I meant
that'd be amazing.
I was trying to come up with like.
I mean,
You could
Disney
catch
Plus
Ready
must
or
have
Not
something
now
rated R,
on
right?
Nicktoons Jr. on demand, and yeah, Disney Plus. That would have been great.
No, yeah. Really quickly, I want to talk about that because Scream is one of my favorite horror franchises. So I'm happy knowing that it's in good hands. I mean, it's not the Citizen Kane of horror movies, but
what is?
I love the Scream movies.
Oh, maybe The Thing. I don't know. The Thing is pretty good.
Yeah, The Thing is pretty good.
I don't feel like I watch enough horror movies to even say what the Citizen Kane would be.
Well, I mean, a lot of people I would say consider The Shining to be the Citizen Kane of horror movies. I feel like that one always gets put on the top, but
I guess this is a good transition to get into what you want to talk about, Angel.
What did I want to talk about?
Also, a transition I didn't interrupt or botch until now.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so the reason I heard about Ready or Not, and I guess a bunch of other... I mean, I went into a horror movie kick later last year. I forgot what it started with, but I ended up watching... I think I saw Halloween, and then I saw the Halloween remake. Well, no, it wasn't a remake. It was a sequel to the first movie, which completely ignored like all the movies that came out in between, just because, kind of like the Friday the 13th movies, the main character went from being a dude that is a serial killer to some spiritual entity that is like reborn every couple of years or something like that. So they just did away with all of that and just kind of brought it back to basics. And at some point, I guess just while on YouTube, I discovered this channel called Dead Meat, which I don't know, I got really addicted to. Like, essentially, the main focus of the show is they have these, the channel's called Dead Meat, but they also have a show within it called Kill Count, where they essentially go through all the kills in every horror movie. And
not every horror movie, just
Oh, just like a bunch of horror movies, like old and new. Like, I mean, it's kind of arbitrary, like which ones they pick. I mean, sometimes it's based on the season, but they pick plenty of things that are ridiculously obscure, ridiculously indie, and also like very mainstream, very modern, just anything you could think of. And James A. Janice is just a great host. I mean, he just seems like a very chill and friendly dude, and just always like upbeat and energetic. And I think what I like about, or what gets me really into, I guess, his channel is just I don't want to say the contradiction, but the juxtaposition of his upbeat, cheerful attitude and the fact that he's talking about all these horror films.
Yeah,
all
with
these
like
very
how
gory, very bloody deaths.
Yeah.
So like, like when a character gets like their face smashed, like all crumbling because they fell ill, I don't know, I guess someone got beaten with a hammer, he'll say like a very cheesy line, or just like something that just it takes away all, I guess, the horror from it, and it just makes it feel informative and just fun and entertaining. And I mean, he's obviously pretty much exclusively showing footage from movies, so he's doing what he's supposed to get away with, fair use and all that stuff. Like, also, like, he rarely shows the audio of the movies throughout the whole time. He always has the same, like, I guess, backtrack music that, I guess, like, now anytime I hear that, it's just like, oh, that's the dead meat music that occurs anytime he does a movie. And, I mean, on top of just, like, naming every single death, I mean, as he's going through the deaths in order, he's also, like, essentially recapping the movie and how they lead into each one. But he's also reviewing the films and kind of explaining why something worked, why something didn't, why a joke landed, why it didn't. Like, and every time he, like, names, and every time he's, like, talking about the cast as he's introducing them in the beginning, he also tells you, like, oh, like, the last girl in this movie is blah, 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 who also appeared in this, and that. Like, all these other horror movies, that just to give you, like, a bigger picture of, like, how small the horror movie genre is. Actually.
It's very much like soap operas, I feel like, where there's, like, a set number of people that only act in that genre.
Yeah, like, there was, like, I mean, after having seen so many of these videos, like, it definitely made me realize that, like, wow, like, you're pretty much like a horror person, like, you make your rounds through them. And on top of the fact, he also, like gives you insight into how they do a lot of these deaths. He'll show you, like, oh, here's, like, the behind the scenes. They did this using practical effects, some green screen, some blah, blah, blah. Like, how many, like, sometimes he'll bring up, like, some interview things where they show how difficult it was, or maybe how much fun they were having, or how horrible it was for the actors involved. And I don't know, it's just very interesting and very addicting. And it's definitely made me want to check out a bunch of other movies that I otherwise wouldn't have, like Ready or Not, or even the Child's Play remake from last year. Like, I didn't really have any interest in watching that, but after watching his, like, essentially kill count on it, it made me actually really want to watch it. Like, it actually seems like I would really enjoy it. And also this movie called The Descent, which I had never seen.
Oh, you've never seen The Descent?
Also, like, I remember hearing about it, but it was also during a period where if it was a horror movie, I just didn't bother watching it. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. Like, I mean, the claustrophobia just feels really uncomfortable. And, I mean, I would hate to be in a situation like that. But I've just started to really like watching or getting into these horror movies. So, yeah, I'm really happy I found this channel. And, I mean, production values-wise, I just love that it feels like a serial, like, it's like a TV show. But it's something I can count on watching consistently every week. Kind of like another channel, Corridor Crew, that kind of like this show, they go over behind the scenes of how a lot of special effects are done, mainly digital and like using the latest technology, and they'll go over why a special effect looks bad. Usually, like, essentially you learn why and how difficult it is to, like, get the lighting just right, how, like, some CG, like, stuff in, like, the Flash TV show, like, can have the giant gorilla enemy, Gorilla Grodd, appear and look okay in some shots, but look terrible. But then there's, like, like a theatrical film, like the Golden Compass, that has some CG polar bears next to a real life person that look not as great compared to a television show from today that has a polar bear that looks pretty much realistic. So, it's like sometimes budget isn't everything. But both of them, I mean, like, they, like, some things that are of note that they've made. They did a re-edit of a Home Alone trailer where they essentially made it very bloody and gory. And they were also known for doing like, those Boston Dynamic videos where you have, like, the robot getting, like, pushed and it falls over?
Yep.
So they did one without saying it was them. They just kind of, like, I mean, they put in, like, a watermark in the corner, like, not quite saying Boston Dynamics, but something similar. So
I think
like,
it was like Bosstown Dynamics.
Yeah. Like, if you weren't paying attention, like, you would probably think this was legit. And looking at the comments, a lot of people did actually think it was real. Or just like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? But essentially, like, they kept pushing this robot, and then it eventually just starts retaliating. And I think in one instance, it actually has a gun. It's great. You should, like, look it up.
Yeah, I need to look this up.
But point is, like, there's, like, a lot of, I don't know, I guess, like, content on YouTube that I didn't think I would be looking into as consistently as I would, like, around the time that I graduated from college. I mean, there were some channels that were, like, I watched, like, some Game Explain stuff, some, like, people just like reviews on games or just like some gameplay stuff, but I never really kept up with someone's content where I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do next week until now, where I actually feel like I'm really into these things. And I mean, there's even like other channels, like one of the best players in Smash Brothers. I mean, he's retired now, but Zero, he has like a great channel where he just talks about his experience of being like, I guess, the best at one point, and how like stressful it is, and how he pretty much like wouldn't want to play professionally anymore, that it just takes the fun out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also gives a lot of insight into other topics, and also I guess watch at your own risk. But it's like very, I never thought I would see toy reviews done the way that this Jobby the Hong person does them. And they're just so,
what does that mean?
Jobby,
because
I don't
you're
know.
like, watch at your own risk, and then followed up with, I've never seen toys reviewed this way, and I'm like, what?
Well, no, I mean, it's just very over the top, like rapid editing humor for like toy reviews. But I mean, it's interesting. Like, I mean, it's probably worth a watch, but it's either going to be very hit or very miss. Like, I ended up really enjoying it, but I could also see some people going like, "Whoa, this is like horrible." But you know, there's like, just because there's like something for everyone in YouTube. Like, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know about Jason, because I feel like Jason is very normal Dave over here. But I mean, are there any channels that you keep up with, Kevin, or that you're like, oh, like, I don't know.
Dead Meat for sure. Love that channel. I remember when I originally subscribed to that channel, I think he was like at 300,000 subscribers, and now he's got almost 4 million.
Damn.
I think the best part about Dead Meat is just, like you said, how many horror movies he introduces to people. Just like with like what was that, like Happy, or I forgot. It was just like a New Year's horror movie that looks terrible, but like he still does it because he loves his job of just bringing these wacky ass horror movies to.
It definitely sounds like there's a lot of movies he talks about that he doesn't want to talk about, but he still.
That too. Oh,
Or doesn't like watching it, I guess.
The best episodes are where he actually like hates the movies, like Saw 3D and the fourth Final Destination movie. Actively when he hates the movies. Yeah, some of the Chuckies. Yeah, the Leprechaun movies are probably.
Oh,
those movies are great too, because
I've heard
just absolutely
things about those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because I remember watching the first one when I was a kid, like Leprechaun 1, and then watching the Dead Meat review of it, and I'm like, oh wow, it wasn't as scary as I thought, and I didn't realize Jennifer Aniston was in it. But you know, Leprechaun in the Hood 1 and 2, and oh geez, I
saw
Leprechaun in Space. Oh my god.
Yeah. I do keep up with Corridor Crew, definitely not as much as Dead Meat, but I follow a lot of tech channels where I look forward to their videos, like Linus Tech Tips, probably the biggest tech channel.
Oh, I do know that guy.
Yeah, I look forward to his videos. Like I said, just a lot of technology videos mainly.
By any chance, at this point. I don't know what the name of this channel is, but I know I've seen my brother watch it sometimes, where the guy or the host, like the bottom half of his face is silver for some reason, and I know he's mainly known for debunking or proving how some videos were doctored or edited or something like that.
No, I've got no idea. No clue there.
Ask Elvis.
But yeah, mainly technology videos. I don't watch a lot of YouTube as I used to. Maybe just because I don't know, just because of I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't watch a lot of YouTube now. I'm more looking at Twitch streaming stuff than YouTube nowadays.
I was gonna take offense to Angel assuming I don't watch YouTube, but as you guys were talking, I was thinking about it, and like, yeah, I'm kind of like Kevin. I don't watch a ton. I mean, I'll go on YouTube, but I tend to go for like mainstream content. Weirdly, so like I'll watch late night stuff, or I'll watch like Conan clips, or like probably the one of the things on YouTube I watch is actually like only on YouTube is Hot Ones, but that literally exists to funnel you back to other mainstream media things. So movies, TV shows, celebrity things. So yeah, I think for the most part, like I'm kind of like I don't really have a. Like I was about ready to be like, no, Angel, you're wrong. Like I occasionally watch a Game Explain, or I like every so often watch a Verge like product review, but I don't like.
Or Did You Know Gaming?
Yeah, or like I'll watch a Did You Know game. Yeah, that's totally my wheelhouse. Yeah, but like I don't subscribe to those. Like I don't keep up with them. It's just like if I stumble across them elsewhere on the web. Yeah, it's kind of weird now that I think about how much you were talking about how much you watch YouTube, and Ken, you're talking about how much you used to watch YouTube. I'm not saying like a ton
either, but
like yeah,
I mean I don't pour like. Well, I mean, I guess when I'm binging them just because I love the channels, or like when I just discovered them, and I'm like, there's a backlog. But I mean, the channels that I do watch, I really enjoy, but it's also not like the majority of what I consume.
So. Yeah, you watch them in spite. No, but yeah, I tend to, it's mostly, or like I'll watch like music stuff, like music videos or like live concerts or stuff. But like, yeah, the more I think about it, I don't really have.
In a way. I guess that's how I treat them.
Oh, one I subscribe to though is a little.
I kind of watch them in the background.
One channel I subscribe to, a little channel called Random Nintendo Com, where every week they spend about 2 hours talking about things. But yeah, no, I don't. In all seriousness, I don't really. Now I think about
communism.
Have we ever talked about communism on Random Podcast? Should we do a late stage capitalism episode of the podcast?
I'm up for it, man.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I didn't mean to cut off what you were saying before, Kevin. But when he was like Jason probably doesn't watch. I think I was sitting there going through like counting on my hands, like what do I watch? I don't. It's weird.
Like I'm sub to a lot of things on YouTube. Let me pull up the stuff real quick. I'm sub to a lot of stuff, but I actually don't watch almost like 99% of the stuff. Right?
Yeah, like I'm gonna do the same on my YouTube right now. I think like it's literally like I said, funnels back to mainstream content that you would see on TV or whatnot, or streaming services. Like, let's see here, where are my subscriptions? Yeah, it's like
about Dead Me, Corridor Crew.
It's like Lonely Island, Team Coco, Nintendo, our podcast, Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, Coldplay, Pokemon, Pixar, you, Angel.
What?
Your old channel, your Wero channel, Wero Studios, and that's it. Weird. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, like Apple. I already said Pokemon. Yeah, it's the new Super Mario Brothers U channel, whatever that was. Like usually, I'll just even the things I do watch, I don't subscribe to. I just hunt them down when I want to. It's very strange because it is a great like Angel. You're making a point about how everyone's production values are like. Things are good now in terms of quality, and for some reason, like really, what's the difference between watching one of the YouTube channels you're describing and Conan's, at-home episodes like I was talking about last Quarantine Chronicles? There really isn't. In fact, your YouTube is probably better than his, on TV thing. But I don't know. It just hasn't. I guess I'm becoming more of a boomer and less of a millennial or Gen Zer. I don't know.
I mean, looking back at after you guys named off your subscriptions, I'm just looking back. There's a lot of things I subscribe to that I just subscribe to, but I don't really watch.
Yeah.
But just counting on the ones that I actually actively keep up with. Oh God. Yeah, there's at least 30 or 40.
Yeah, that's way more than me.
That you keep up with?
They don't release videos often, but videos that I look forward to. But there's very few channels that I subscribe to that actually produce something weekly. Most of them are bi-weekly or once a month. Just because a lot of them are animation related or art related. Some of them are tutorial stuff. And every Friday there's an artist named Mark Crilly who he's a manga artist and has done a bunch of tutorial books that I actually do own, and I just love the way he draws and the tutorials that he teaches, so I love watching those every week. And there's also some other people that do really great animation, but animation takes time, so whenever they do come out with something once every 3 months, it's this 5-minute video, but it's always amazing to watch because he's a very talented person and they put a lot of work into it, but they're very few and far between.
The more I think about it,
a lot of resource stuff. The majority of the stuff I watch is resource stuff. There's maybe 5 to 8 that are entertainment related, but the rest are just animation related.
The more I think about it, though, the more I realize how weird it is because I enjoy the Toys That Made Us on Netflix, but I don't watch all the dozens of thousands of hundreds of YouTube channels that basically do the same thing at the same quality with the same amount of research, or sometimes better, or I'll watch The Verge's product reviews because I get them from The Verge's website and then click through YouTube, but I don't watch some of the biggest talking head people of the tech world, what's his name, MKHB. I forgot his name, but he's
MKBHD.
Yeah, him. I'll very rarely watch him, but I'll watch everything The Verge puts out. Usually his stuff, MK's, is way more in depth and actually a better quality video. But for some reason, nope, I get it from The Verge. It's very weird how I do this.
I just don't subscribe from 20 channels right now.
Yeah, it's I do think it's It's interesting that none of us have named specific people. Like, I think that's a generational thing, probably, because we don't we don't follow PewDiePie or anyone like, well, sorry, not him, but anyone like that.
Yeah, because even Dead Meat,
it's a brand.
I said his name, but yeah.
I mean, even like us, we're here talking on a recording, and we do it with Nintendo, and then we do it with non-Nintendo, and people listen to us, but like, I don't necessarily, because we're like a brand, but if I went on YouTube and I was like, I'm Jason, like, I wouldn't listen to me. But I don't know. It feels like it's like more of there's some sort of structure to it or something. I don't know. It's very strange.
I follow some people that aren't necessarily brands, like Caleb City, but his videos are never longer than like 2 minutes.
Right.
Ghost Johnson,
yeah, or even like Game Explain. It's just like 2 or 3 dudes. But... Yeah. It's like I need some sort of like foundation,
YouTube, or
like some sort of fake mainstream foundation.
I mean, I guess recently because of this, I guess I've just had a chance to step back and just kind of acknowledge YouTube as like a very legitimate source of, I guess great content that could be out there. I mean, I'm sure we haven't even scratched the surface, and I don't know if I'm going to go any deeper than this because there's definitely plenty of other media I prefer to consume at other places, but this is definitely a nice place where, as I'm working on stuff or doing other things on my computer, I definitely like having them in the background, just listening and occasionally glancing over since, most of the time they are just talking.
It's almost like when you have a segment on this where we have like the newest channel we found or something like that. Along with shows and movies and whatnot, like Angel's latest YouTube channel.
Angel's latest YouTube channel?
I mean, yeah, like the same way we do like what are we watching on TV, what are we watching in terms of movies, we should have like what Angel find on YouTube.
Well, I mean, the 4A dropped were literally like the first new channels I've added in like years, okay. which is why I felt it was like worth bringing up. But,
it's an interesting, and there's like I have friends that are like super into like there's this one channel on YouTube that's just these 2 guys who make structures in the style of like very old like I don't even know how to describe mud and water and sticks and stuff like actually like full on structures. It's just like a 45-minute video where they're explaining, and I've explained, you're just watching them do it, and they're like, slapping mud together.
Primitive.
Yes,
I forgot what it's called.
that one. And that's like, I'm always like, oh, that's interesting, but I never on my own accord go hunt it down. But then, like, that friend is constantly doing it.
It's kind of like,
it's like I don't subscribe. He subscribes to it.
It's just like the Polygon videos by that Gilbert fellow. Like, I don't subscribe to it.
Yeah.
But when I do run into it because like it's advertised by Go Nintendo or something, because it's Nintendo related or a a topic I like, I'll gladly watch it.
Oh yeah,
Brian David Gilbert.
Yes, Brian David. He's great.
Those are great.
I forgot the one he did where he basically called out Doug Bowser from Nintendo and was like, "Why aren't you making this?" I think it was a Waluigi game or something, or learning the history of Waluigi.
It was about why there isn't a Waluigi game because they haven't found the right Waluigi.
It was so good, and then Doug Bowser actually responded on Twitter. he just put like an emoji or something like and said like "good job" or something, but he did respond. But, like stuff like that, like if I stumble across it, sure, but I never really go on my way to watch it. It's very strange. Because YouTube is basically another, to the streaming service thing. It's a Netflix, it's a Hulu, it's all of those, but it's all free. And yet, I don't touch it. I'd rather complain about the ones I have to pay for.
But in that one, quality will vary tremendously.
Yeah, for sure. But the ones that stand out really stand out.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Such as ours.
One channel, no. I was gonna say like one channel I subscribe to like releases like one video like I don't even know when. It's just super rare, but it's just like super crazy Bowser Smash Brothers tech.
Right.
It's like when they release a video, it's like whoa, this is awesome. I kind of haven't thought of that.
Yeah.
But then they go into a hiatus again, so who knows when. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. YouTube. Such a strange land.
It really is.
Well, I think that will wrap up this episode. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I have a transition boiling up inside me that I could say, but I'll spare you unless you want to hear it. Okay, I'll spare it.
Yeah, that works. That works. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Quarantine Chronicles, episode 2. I still can't think of an episode title for this. I'll figure it out soon enough.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about the podcast down in the comments in the blog post. You can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts.
You're so close. You're so close. Stitcher. And what else? YouTube.
You can follow us on YouTube. I wasn't even getting it.
That was a separate thought. I'm sorry.
We're Random Nintendo.com on YouTube. What's it called? You can follow us on Twitter at Random Nintendo. You can follow us individually. I'm KVN Gomi, Gomie.
Bleep
Jason
that.
is
Bleep that.
now
ding.
we gotta.
But ding.
Jason is JSR7. Angel is Weiro. 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 Oh, is that how you say it?
Kevin, you've known him for how many years?
Weiro. Weiro _O. And that's gonna wrap this up. So last episode we had Angel say the last word, but then Jason interjected.
I did.
So Angel, once again, you get to go.